question, guys. The question I'm popping up right now is, are you currently working with family or do you have a desire to? Are you currently working with family or do you have a desire to? Say hello, guys. I hope you've had a wonderful week. I hope whether you're with someone or you're not with someone, that you're doing some wonderful things this weekend, because in my personal opinion, Valentine's Day is all about love.
Self-care and love.
Self-care and love. So that should reflect if you're in a relationship, and it should reflect even more if you're not in a relationship. So come on in and answer the question. Are you currently working with family or do you have a desire to? Hey, Nana. We're grooving.
Still waking up.
Yep, guys, we're just grooving to our little reggae beat here. Actually, one of our favorite artists, can you guess who they are? Is a reggae artist, and that's our favorite song. I would say that's our song. Yeah?
I would say so.
Yeah, see if anybody can guess. If we had a song, and it's a reggae song, who would be the artist? That's so easy. And you'll get a prize. Hey Marika, how you doing today? Are you currently working with family or do you have a desire to? Marika is. I know Linda is. Nana definitely is. Come on in, guys. We're going to dive right in. I am Tracy Angelica Clark.
I'm Robert Clark.
And we are both owners, president, and vice president of Clark & Clark. We help nonprofits, and we also help businesses develop as well as get legally set up. I'm over our marketing department and coaching department, and Robert's over the legal side. We've been working together for
the past 4 years. So
yeah.
If starting or developing a team for your family, your friends, your spouse, if that's something that you're interested in, then this video is definitely for you.
Absolutely. I think this is something that we've been doing now kind of annually. Yeah. Talking relationship during Valentine's Day weekend. Yeah.
I'm the camera shy one. So.
Give me a thumbs up or emoji if you all want to see more of Robert. That'll help me get him on more. So give me a thumbs up. I think he does great, and I love having people on with me. I am definitely the type of person that my gifts turn on when I'm connected to other people. And so that's why I love interviewing. I always love that one-on-one connection with clients and doing that coaching portion of it. At one point in time, I was pulling away from that, and I realized that I just love working with people. So I like having you on, huh?
She really does, y'all.
Thank you. Thank you. So come on into the room, guys, and answer this question if you haven't already. Are you currently working with family or do you have a desire to? Thumbs up. They want you to come on. Yeah, that's one thumbs up. That's a vote right there. Yes, guys. So we are going to dive in today. What we're going to be talking about is we're going to be talking about working with family, working with friends, relationship in general. Honestly, relationships, when it comes to relationships, that's in your life, whether you're talking about a spouse in an intimate relationship or just a business, or if you are a solopreneur, so to speak. No matter what, you're going to be building relationships with companies, with brands, with your clients. If you have a business or you have a nonprofit, more than likely that's to serve some set of people. So you're going to want to make sure you have those relationships and those people skills to be able to work with them. There's a common quote that goes in the nonprofit world that funders don't fund organizations, they fund people. And sometimes we work a lot on branding and presenting this and that and presenting ourselves as a professional organization, and we forget that relationship part. We forget that connecting and that networking piece, and that is vital. I would say it would be very hard, no matter how much you put into website, marketing, logo, whatever you put into that box, that outer box, no matter what, if you don't have that relationship component, and if you don't understand how to work with people, I would say it would be difficult. Would you agree? Yeah. So
that leads into the topic of our discussion today. So you want to tell them what the title of discussion of today is?
Yes. So like I was saying, the title of today is we're going to be doing a little bit of story time in here. We're going to be talking about what we've learned as entrepreneurs from our spouse, and then also some mistakes we made, so you won't make some of those same mistakes if you're going into business with your spouse. First, I would like to start off saying I believe in working with family. So that would be the more so question on it. I know I get a lot of mixed reviews when it comes to working with family. Honestly, I didn't always think I could work with family. Is that something you've always thought you could do?
Not necessarily, because you've been more of the entrepreneurial mindset than I have been. So obviously, to a lot of people, they would think that they would want to build some kind of business with their family in the future. But did I necessarily think so? Not really. Maybe a smaller
No
business.
offense,
But
nobody.
no offense, no
No
offense.
offense.
But not knowing what my own passion is to push on to somebody else to say, hey, let's start this business. It's kind of difficult. It could be kind of difficult, I would
Yeah.
guess.
And I would say I definitely checked the box and fell into the category for a long time of a solo entrepreneur and not really wanting to work with family here and there. Like me and my family may share some different things, share an idea or whatnot, but like working with them in a day-to-day basis wasn't something I was always interested in. I had heard a lot of like stories and a lot of people like don't ever work with family if you work with family. And I personally believe don't throw the baby away with the bathwater. Same thing as dating. And that'll lead into our story time a little bit later, guys. But we actually met online, and it was the same thing when we met online at that time. Not that it was that long ago, but when we met on that time, I would say it was a little less popular than it is now.
Yeah.
Would you agree? It's always been a slow progression, so it was something that people were kind of like, oh yeah, I met online or whatnot, you know. But at that point in time, it was like I had bad experiences and good experiences with online dating. Did you? You know.
Yeah.
But you don't throw, I'm glad you didn't throw the baby away with the bathwater. You know, you kept on. Same thing when it comes to family, guys. Some family is going to work for your business and it's going to work out. Some family and friends may not work for your business. I personally believe that if there is a gift or some type of service or something that my family can provide, it allows me to spend more time with them. Because as opposed to spending time, you know, with everything else that you do, watching this, watching that, eating, doing things that maybe are not that developmental, you're spending time developing each other's gifts. So that's what I personally believe, guys. So we're going to go ahead and jump right in here. The first question that we have is, what does relationship have to do with business? So what in general does relationship, how does it tie to business? I know it's Valentine's Day weekend and we're thinking love, we're thinking self-love, but what does business have to do with that? And I'll personally say that it has everything to do with it. When you think about business and you think about relationship, you put yourself and you put more energy into it. You have a relationship with money. There is a reason why you're currently bringing in whatever the amount or the value or the dollar per month or dollar per hour, or if you're in business, dollar per month. It's because of the energy that you're exuding. So you have a relationship with money. You have a relationship with your clients. That's what business is all about. It's about servicing clients as nonprofits. It's about servicing the community. You have a relationship with them. So a lot of the things that you learn in your relationship with your spouse or with your family or with your friends, that can bleed and you can tie that into the relationship that you have with your business, because ultimately no one wants to be looked at as a number. Yeah. You know, if you notice on the different commercials and things that you're watching, one of the common things that commercials use, this is like a gold star in commercials, they know they're going to get your sales. And this is important to know, guys, because our views are valuable. So everything that you're viewing, that you're taking in, is valuable. So one thing that they do is they put, what is it called? I forget the word for it, but like something from your past or some type of moment or whatever. Some type of moment in there that you can relate to. Nostalgia. That's what it is. If you can put nostalgia into any product. So it's so funny. We'll watch commercials all the time and we'll be like, what is this commercial even going to be about? It'll just be something interesting, a little story. It's all about people connecting to a story, and then bam, that product will go in there. And that's how you really tie those bonds with products. So even products and services that you purchase, it's because you feel that family, you feel that relationship building. So relationship building is key. If you learn this, you'll be able to easily put together systems, build a team, and build the relationships around you at the same time. So it has everything to do with business, guys. All right. And so the main thing that we're going to be talking about is, what have we learned?
A lot. It's been, I don't want to say it's been a long 4 years, but it's definitely been a building 4 years. We've been working together, like I said earlier, about 4 years now. Patience is definitely something I've learned, both with my partner and with our clients. And when I say patience, we have some clients that are ready to go, that are up and running, that are, just ready to be let loose. Then we have others that not necessarily taking their time, but are being a little bit more cautious, and they get with us when they can. So
Yeah.
But patience is definitely something I've learned.
Absolutely. I agree with that. Meeting a client where they are. So meeting them where they are, I know like for a long time, even as a coach, I realized that I was getting the same thing after each coaching session, which was, whoo, that's a lot of information. That's information overload. And there was a point in time where I felt good about that. Like, oh, okay, they got a lot of information. They're feeling good. But sometimes they would get stagnant because I gave too much information. So finding out exactly what step they're in, let's get through that step. Because so many times we're thinking too many steps ahead. Mm-hmm. We're thinking, especially as entrepreneurs, about this business and that business. A lot of times we have multiple businesses and thinking about all these steps, and you really are taken away from the energy that you're able to put into this very step that you're working on. I had this epiphany maybe about a week ago about focus, and that when you're focusing on one thing, that's your A energy. That's when you're doing A work because you're giving it everything you have. As soon as you split that in two, now you're doing B level work. And then you kind of see where that goes from there. As you keep splitting it and keep splitting it, you're basically doing a lot of stuff, but you're doing it at a failing level. And so honing in and really focusing is going to be key, I would say, to building any business. Any relationship will be number two, building relationships. So that's definitely a mistake, I would say, as well. A mistake that I would say, let me see, or what I've learned. I'm sorry, we haven't gotten to the mistakes. First, we're just talking about kind of what we've learned. So this is where we're going to get into the story time, guys. So a little story time about how we met. I already said that that we met online. So we actually met on Tinder, was the specific app. So I give it a thumbs up. Mm-hmm. I give it a definite thumbs up. Don't throw the baby away with the bathwater, guys. And I would say the very first thing that I learned about that I would say I learned as an entrepreneur from my husband is the way that we met and the way that we started dating, which was very unorthodox in my traditional dating. One of the things I had really done was I had been through a lot of bad and negative relationships, kind of been to, I would say, rock bottom in relationships. And I had come to a point where I no longer wanted to focus on anything that somebody would bring. I think that that's a huge mistake that a lot of women specifically make in relationships, like focus on what can this person do for me? And this was kind of more old school because we've been together for a while. So hopefully this is changing. But what can they do for me? What can they pay? How much can they pay for this? Or, or just looking for all this long list of what they're looking for, as opposed to just focusing on your own value and development and somebody that can join that journey with you. So I found that I had gotten to a point where I was just not, I had stopped trying so hard. It was just really about getting to know people and really just enjoying their company. And that's how I would say we even linked to begin with anyway, is because I really just fell in love with enjoying his company and not looking for all of these things that a lot of times we kind of get into our own heads when it comes to dating. The reason I say this and how this all goes to business is because it's the exact same way. A lot of times as businesses, what you have to realize is your goal as a business should be to provide as much value as you can at your highest rate of development. So to elevate yourself to as high as you can, utilizing your gifts and providing that value. When you start to utilize and sink into your gifts, those things come easy to you. When you start to overthink it, now you don't want to do that live. Now you don't want to do that podcast. Mm-hmm. Now you're looking at all of these other ways that people are doing the podcast or live or YouTube or their business or their branding, and you're letting that bleed into what you can naturally provide and what your natural gifts are. So sometimes by just getting out there, enjoying yourself, having fun, getting out of your own head, stop looking at, how much am I going to make in this, or just focusing on the money part about it, more so focusing on how much value can I really provide? Why would somebody really want my services? What are some of the things? And if you are over the age of 20, there are some things that you've learned in life that people can benefit from. Mm-hmm. So you have some value that people are like, you know what? A lot of times your friends help you to see that value because they come to you for those things. You know what? Can I get your advice on this? What do you think about this on starting my business? That's how you can start to kind of like see what those gifts and those values are. But those things come easy. So when you're working really hard and you're like, I really want to see how can I really get to this huge vision, and you haven't broken it down into those baby steps and you aren't really enjoying yourself, I think that takes away from you really being able to fulfill your purpose.
The experience is key.
Yeah.
That's what you're going to get most out of it. So.
Absolutely. And so that would be the number one thing I learned. Number two thing that I learned is we have a total different style of relationship when it comes to our personal relationships. I would say you have a lot more friends than me. Absolutely. I have a lot more friends than me. Okay, let's see. Oh, Tinder. Yes, absolutely. Um, yeah, absolutely. Tying that in there. And then it said, been there, not good for your self esteem. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's so good to, because the thing that I noticed in that whole situation, guys, of that changing the style of dating, the big thing is you're more your authentic self. You're more your authentic self. So when you're not thinking about what this person can give and what they, oops, keyboard's dropping. And when you're not thinking about what they can give and not looking for all of these things, you get to show up as your authentic self. And of course, you want to fall in love with someone as their authentic self. And of course, you want to link with businesses that are utilizing their authentic gifts. So that's absolutely the case. But what was I saying was the next thing that I learned was
one thing I've learned about working with her,
yes,
my entrepreneurial wife, is just learning when to be on and off the clock. You know, there's some days where, you know, we might be bumping heads on the clock, but once we punch out for the day, we got to remind ourselves that we're done for the day, you know, and whatever work related, you know, issues we might have had need to be done with the day.
Switch.
And then as well as being on the clock when I'm working, you know, I need to be fully, you know, without distraction, both of us, you know, and just knowing how to co-work, you know, and have a good co-working space with your entrepreneurial partner.
Absolutely. And being flexible. I would say definitely being flexible. If you're working together, guys, and most of us all are in some sort of quarantine now, possibly working with their spouse, maybe doing something different, but both working in the same house. Sometimes you have to be flexible. Sometimes people's highest level of work is at different times. I know for me that's early mornings, but that's not necessarily the same for you. And so we're able to just kind of float around that. Sometimes when I'm at my highest level of working time, he may not be, and vice versa. And making sure that you're respecting those things and finding a system, which is another key ingredient. We'll touch on that a little bit later. But finding a system that works so you're not blending too much of that work with that family aspect. And you all aren't at family dinner and talking about a client or something like that. You have a system for that. And that's where we use Trello. Always going to say that is one of the best systems that we added onto our company. It's changed our company like tenfold, absolutely. And so we keep our communication there, guys. That's an important little kind of going into one of the mistakes.
Just a side note, we started off using sticky notes. There was an app we used. It was called Sticky Notes.
I remember that vaguely.
Sticky Notes to Trello.
Look, I don't even think that's an app, y'all. That's I guess it is an app. You remember when on Microsoft, some of y'all might still be using them. You could create a sticky note. And so we had like the computer was like full of all these sticky notes. That is crazy. Yeah. And so Trello is basically a noting system, but you're able to put other people onto there so they can see what's going on no matter where they're located. You're able to create to-do lists. You guys can look at, or I can even do a Trello explanation video or go into more details about that later on as far as creating systems. But that was a key for us because what it allows us to do is to have a place for work and a place for family. You know, so communications on clients and things like that goes in there, even if we're right in front of each other. So number one, we're able to see that and remember it at a later date or whatnot. But then number two, we're able to, if the other person is not working at that time, we're able to let them have their time off of work and not bother them at their very moment. And then when they go check in and clock in, they're able to see all those notifications. So I think that's definitely the case. And then what I was saying was the second thing that I learned from my husband, definitely when it comes to entrepreneurship, is relationship building. He has a lot more relationships. He's able to manage them pretty well. Amazing listener. Like, and his friends and family know that because a lot of them call and he just is able to be a really, he's a really good friend, I would say.
Thank you.
You're an amazing friend. And it's upped my level of friendship. I'm a different kind of friend. I'm like really, really dedicated. And I would say I have a very, very shorter friend list, but he's an amazing friend. So that as I start to learn more relationship wise, I'm able to bleed that into, because a lot of the people that I've met through business and I've met in building their nonprofit or their vision, I see as friends. And I think like, okay, that's how you want to see the people that are tied to you, because the things that are of value, sometimes I honestly feel like your clients and the people that are connected to your services show more dedication and show more support than some of your family may show.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Technically, if someone invests in your business, that's huge. Some people wouldn't invest in some of their family's businesses or donate to their nonprofit. And so when people are donating, when people are saying with their money, with their time and energy, because that's how they got their money, that they believe in you, you want to show up for them in your highest elevation, which I would say is friend energy, you know? So I definitely learned that from him as well. Just being able to be there for someone, to be that listening ear. And I would say that elevated me as being of better service to my clients. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. So are we digging into the mistakes, or did we touch on everything that? Okay, let's touch on mistakes. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to drop them here. Again, if you don't believe in working with family, drop it here too, so we can talk about that. You know, what are the reasons why you don't believe in working with family? Please, if you guys are watching this, yeah, you know. I mean, I will say this: I've had negative experiences and positive experiences. So that's why I go back to don't throw the baby away with the bathwater. You know what I mean? Same thing about dating relationship. What I personally realized was that, you know, I had negative and positive experiences on dating apps. The same way back in the day when you met someone out or you met someone at a club or something like that, you have negative and positive experiences. That doesn't mean that the system doesn't work. It means that you just, you know, hit the wrong button. That's all. You swiped the wrong way. But let's see here. Yes, absolutely. Gayla said flexible, going with the flow. Yes, that's key. Mm-hmm. One thing that I was talking to her about a little bit earlier was just the fact that how many people we know several people personally who were trying to get to have a baby, mm-hmm. whether that be through in vitro, whether that be through adoption, in whatever way. And then once they actually adopted or once they actually had that baby, they got pregnant. Yep. I know several people like that. And so I'm a firm believer in that's because their energy was released. They lightened up. They were able to add joy back into their life. They weren't thinking of it as a challenge. They weren't thinking of it as what's wrong with me. All of these same thoughts can go into business. Mm-hmm. If you're thinking about, oh man, you know, why is this not, or why haven't I made a sale yet? Or why haven't I, instead of focusing on what value you can add, that you're pulling away some of the energy that could go into the actual value you add, the self-developmental things that you need to do or educational things you need to do to create even more value, mm-hmm. you know? So I think that can definitely go. Yeah, absolutely. So remembering, if nothing else, guys, a big point is that a lot of things that you learn, think of anything that you've had success in and really, really juice that thing for everything that you can get out of it as far as lessons, because you can learn about a lot of areas from your life in the successes you had in one thing, whether that be health, whether that be relationship. One thing I just learned from the kindergarten teacher is that there's 7 different, how many did she say? 7 different level areas of genius, 7, yeah. Whether that be body, math, language. And most people are born with at least 1 to 2 of those things, and then they have to work on the other things. When you're doing self-development, you realize the things that are genius for you, and then you're able to pull from that genius thing that comes natural. You're able to help all those other areas as well. So if nothing else, definitely take this from that, guys. And Gayla said Trello system and organizing. Yes, absolutely. They're coming soon. Organizing videos, if organizing your time, building relationships, things like that is something you guys want to see more of. Absolutely. So let's jump into the mistakes. What mistakes do you think?
Me getting into a field that I had no prior knowledge of. I did what I guess a lot of people would call career suicide. I just left my job and started a business up with her, and we were on our way. Would I call it a mistake? Some might call it a mistake, you know, but I guess I felt I came out on the successful side of it. So mm-hmm. Not necessarily a mistake, but I do wish I knew a little bit more prior to leaving. Not that I don't think it would have made any change, you know, in the outcome, but
being a little more prepared. Would you say, well, you can never be, there's something that somebody say, there's never a right moment, mm-hmm. an exact moment to grow your family, exact moment to get married, perfect moment to start a business. But being a little bit more prepared. I didn't make
sure I grabbed the right parachute, but I did. So I could. It's not a mistake. I would say it was a mistake in learning. So
yeah,
learning mistake.
A learning mistake. okay.
my words from here to there.
That's okay. That's okay. I totally understand what he's saying, guys. One thing that's going to be beneficial to you as a business as you're taking jump and risk as you go from working a 9 to 5 and working, the basically a little bit of background is he worked a traditional job, worked 40 to some odd hours per week, and sometimes showing up for someone like that, you forget to show up for yourself. You don't really know what that looks like. So sometimes you think you know what it looks like, but then I would say even for me, when the very first business I started going from that 9 to 5 to showing up for myself, it was hard. You used to get used to punching the clock. Sometimes you don't show up to your especially if it's not something you're passionate about. You're not even used to showing up on a 10. But if you're going to be an entrepreneur, if you're going to build something, you need to show up at a 10. You need to wake up before everybody else. You may need to clock in before you even was clocking into that job. And so sometimes I guess understanding, doing your research, making sure you know what you're getting into on that level, understanding the products and the services that you offer, whatever that is, maybe linking with another nonprofit and serving with them, and seeing what that looks like. A lot of times what your vision looks like and what it looks like in real life can be a little different. And so the more experience you can build, I would say, the better it is and the more prepared you'll be for when you jump into something.
And I mean, I've had jobs in customer service before, but it's a different animal dealing with a straight up client, dealing with your one-on-one client that you're building a business for. So,
and your name is behind Clark and Clark. You know, it's like you might have something out with a Walmart or whatever, but you know what I'm saying? You're talking to, as far as a client is concerned, it's like, oh, okay, I really left that at work. But it's different when your branding and your name and things like that is tied to it. And the truth of the matter is, guys, if you're going to build a nonprofit, if you're going to build a business, you are going to come into contact with some clients or some or the people that you serve in the community where it may not flow smooth. That just happens. That's just kind of part of course. So that's just something that happens no matter what on all levels of business. People make mistakes, things happen. So being ready for that is something, and paying attention more so though to the things that are going right, because I know that was another mistake that we talked about in previous video, but it's worth talking about again, was our ratings, guys. Number one shout out, we just hit 500 subscribers. Thank you everybody on YouTube. If you are not subscribed to our YouTube channel, please go ahead and subscribe. That was a huge milestone, and celebrating those small wins is really important to us. Same thing when it comes to our ratings and reviews. I think we're over 300 reviews right now. And there was a point in time, and it is still to this day, we get a lot of 5-star reviews very often, and we are so appreciative of them. But every blue moon, we get a review that's not 5 stars. And for some time, it would be like, how could it possibly be that somebody would not, and we would put so much time and energy into that. Nothing near the 200 5-star reviews that came before it. So making sure that you're focusing on the things that are going right. You're focusing on the opportunities you have. You're focusing on those clients and those individuals that do believe in your business and that you are providing great quality services for, and not putting more energy into the negative things, because whatever you put your energy into, that's what's going to grow. So a mistake I would say that I made was thinking that your partner can read your mind, any of the partners. It's so important to have clear understandings. That's very, especially when dealing with family. I would say even more so when dealing with family, because you don't want this vague, not that no one is necessarily thinking negatively, or no one is necessarily thinking they want to, win over the other individual, or cheat them in any type of way. But sometimes it's just for clarity. I've seen people, and I've asked questions when it comes to nonprofits that are working with family, and sometimes they'll say, well, I'm not sure, or I'm not sure, what, if it's a business type, I'm not sure how this is going to be broken up percentage. I'm sure everything's just going to work out fine. Well, that is all fine and dandy sometimes when you're first going into things, but when things actually start to accumulate, you actually start bringing in funding and things like that. Sometimes one person may have understood the conversation differently than the other person understood the conversation. And there's nothing, there may not be necessarily anything negative on either end. You just thought that they were seeing the conversation the way you were seeing it, and they thought you were seeing the conversation the way that they were seeing it, and y'all was all happy and everything was good to go, but it was unclear. And all of us have had misunderstandings before. All of us have had that.
It's having clarity, and basically, it's where an outside eye, can be helpful, so we
Yeah.
did a thing called the disc,
Oh yeah,
and that
shout
helped
out
us
to
out.
Reggie with
Mhm.
the disc training.
That helped
Absolutely,
us a lot.
guys. That helped us tremendously. He came in and he looked at our entire team, which is not just built up of us as family, but we also have other family members on our team as well. My sisters work with me. Our children work with us. Our mothers work with us. So he was able to come in and help us to find out what ways we work best. That's what DISC is. It determines what type of pace, which that's a whole nother subject that we could get into because we're on pace wise, we definitely have our own unique pace. But it talks about pace. It talks about if you are the type of person that want to connect with people more and you like being connected with people, actually getting on calls, actually talking to a lot of people. If you're more systems, which both of us really like implementing systems, it really dives into how you work as an individual and then how you're able to work with a team and what type of people should be around you and how you can develop some of the areas that you may be on a lower level on. So I'll definitely tag him in this as well, guys, because I would definitely suggest that system or suggest having someone come in from the outside. It may even look like Clark and Clark coming in and drawing up your documents saying, okay, let me ask these questions, because maybe it can be kind of uncomfortable talking business or asking the tough questions when it comes to your family. So maybe it's about someone coming in and assessing what's going on in your business as well. So that may be what it looks like as well. But having that clarity, having clarity in writing, and making sure that each individual understands their role. They understand what their job title is or description, if that suffices with your organization. They understand how much time or money they're needing to contribute, and that you guys have a clear understanding of that is huge, I would say. And so one of the ways that we create clarity is we have system. Our system is not verbal. Our system, that's again going back to that Trello. Everything that we do is tagged and is tracked, and we can go through and figure out what when a client did this, when a client got approved for that, when a client got this grant, whatever the case may be, when someone was able to each step along the way. So that way anybody can come into that system and be able to utilize it and see what's going on. It's not like, oh, do you remember? Well, what did that client say about this? Or what did that client say about that? So we've really just found that having that clarity, having it out and in writing is the best way to have clarity, because we can go back to it like, oh no, there it is right there, So absolutely. Growth is growing. Knowledge is knowing. Power is powerful. It all equates to your desire to work hard and passion about what you believe will make your life and others a little easier to navigate through this time of need. Absolutely. I love that. I love that, Nana. Yes, definitely. Other mistakes, would you say?
What else would we say?
What else? What other did we cover on all mistakes? And guys, if you have any questions, this is a great time to ask questions as well. Oh yeah. That's definitely what I would say as well here is treating your company like a company. That goes along with the systems. Treating your company even if it's a family company, treating it seriously, having those documents, having an operating agreement if you're in a LLC or in a business, which basically says this is how we operate. If someone created an operating agreement for you, reading it and making sure that you understand how you operate. Is there something you need to add to it? Is something not being addressed in that operating agreement? For your nonprofits, you want to know your bylaws. Make sure you've read through your bylaws and you understand that's kind of the similar type of document when it comes to nonprofits. So it's so important to know that however you treat your baby, your business, your vision, with the energy you give to it, you can't expect anybody to come into it, family, friends, employees, to come into it and give it more energy than you're giving to. So the best thing you could do is make sure you're giving the utmost energy to it, taking it seriously, doing all of your due diligence when it comes to your company. And then it's easy for the people who are coming into your life after that to reflect that energy, so treating it seriously. Did we cover all the mistakes? We made a lot of them. We'll never cover all the mistakes. Uniqueness. Yes, I would say that's definitely one of the things as well. I would say this is something that I'm gaining more and more clarity on and practicing more and more as a nonprofit leader and business owner, which is not sometimes something is so much your vision that you're not willing to let other people come in and give authentic, genuine feedback. And it's so important to surround yourself around people who are willing to give that authentic, genuine feedback and to create an atmosphere that is a soft atmosphere to that feedback. So the way that you do that is, even if you saw something working out a little bit differently, or you had it differently in your head, if someone is coming in and they're starting to work on it, and they're working on it, and it's a little like, oh, I thought you were going to make it this way on as a checklist, as opposed to in the comments, so to speak. Letting that go ahead and flow. Maybe this is going to be better for the company, or maybe you're learning how other people think, which happens to be, these are people. So now you're looking into how your clients, how your market thinks as well. So really kind of being open arms for other people's gifts and talents and upgrades to your company. That's really what a company is. If you want to just work kind of as a solopreneur or create a sole proprietorship and just do this by yourself, it's almost like not building a company. What building a company is really putting multiple people's energy, gifts, and talents into a service and a product. And so being open to that uniqueness, even if it's not like yours, like, you know what, maybe it could be better. Maybe it's just a different perspective. Maybe we can add this on. So I think that that's very important. And as you accept that and you're like, oh, okay, yeah, I like it that way. Okay, yes, let's try it that way and see what happens. You create an atmosphere for people to continue to, oh, okay, well, let me, but if you immediately cut something off, like, no, I don't want to do it that way. I've never done it that way before. I don't like that title.
Yeah.
Then, then it's like, me too, definitely. So I think that would definitely be one, guys. All right.
Questions.
So we will see what kind of questions we have in here. Let's see. Here we go. How do you balance each other's different personalities or learn from them?
I'm learning. We're definitely learning from each other.
And I would say acceptance is huge. Again,
I have the most laid back personality for the most part, I feel, and that can be both.
Laid back?
I think so.
Okay, yeah, I would call it laid back.
I think so.
Laid back, he can border Capricorn grouchy sometimes.
I admit it.
And I can border annoyingly
I admit
it. Annoyingly bubbly sometimes. You know what I mean? But I think it's in the acceptance. I don't expect or desire for him to be like me. And I think vice versa. I think that sometimes we naturally I think that we naturally desire or look at each other with the I would say with the rule stick of our personality, as opposed to this is a whole total different person. They don't have to be bubbly, or they don't have to do this exactly the way that I do it. Furthermore, I would say that, okay, how can they balance me out? How can this energy, this is something that's unique and different for me. So what can I learn from it? You know what I mean? So for an example, we have total different pace. So that's one thing that that's one thing that DISC program really talks a lot about as well. It talks about how fast you make decisions. That's what pace is. It's how fast you make decisions. And we have different pace, like most of you all will have different paces in different things. When it comes to legal work and work on clients' vision and business, I am a very slow pace, but that's a pace that I accept as a gifted pace, because I want to make sure that this comes out right. We want to make sure that we triple check. When there's other things going on, like when you're driving or when you're making a decision because something happened kind of off the cuff, someone turned the wrong way or something like that, sometimes you got to make a decision fast, or if there's a time that you have to come on live or something like that, all right, we got to move that pace along a little faster. So it's so important to know what your pace compares to other individuals. And that's where that DISC assessment will really come into play. So it's so important to know what your pace. And what I've learned from him is he has a faster pace, but he also has a bigger scope of the reasonings why his pace is fast. So a story I told last time was that when we were going to what's that place called? Was it Turkey Run? Yeah, when we were going to Turkey and getting ready. He can get ready and get out the house really, really fast. But a lot of times what you have to realize is when you count your partner's quirks, natural tendencies, things like that as gifts, you can look at them a little bit differently. because he was like moving fast. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, why don't we just take our time? I don't understand. Why let's just move slow. We realized that by the end of the day, we was headed on back, and it was like pitch black. It was getting dark. It was we realized that, okay, I was like, you know what, if we had left a little earlier, now I kind of see how that would have flowed a little bit better. And like just seeing it from that aspect of what are the reasons why their pace is different, rather it be slow or rather it be fast. Because I know for me as well, I like to be prepared.
Yeah.
So sometimes I may be moving at a slower pace, but things are a little bit more prepared, or I've made sure I've checked this off, or I've made sure that that's been done. So I would just say really appreciating whatever.
And it goes with our, the way we was raised. I was the only child Capricorn. She's the middle child Aquarius. So
yeah.
Those are two big personalities right there. So
yeah,
that's
absolutely.
It's been a balance.
And I think the hardest thing that you could do is really accept people for who they are.
Mm-hmm.
I really think that's the hardest thing, and really looking at them in an observative. Because I even think, like, for me, I so enjoy just seeing an authentic human being, because there's so many people out here wearing several layers of masks, and I'm not talking about COVID-19 masks, you know what I mean? But just being different, not knowing exactly who they are, because they're so used to trying to be like everyone else that they forgot who their unique personality is. So sometimes I'll ask questions, and I know sometimes he'll respond like, what do you want me to say to that, or what do you mean? I'm like, I just want to know, I just want to hear what your story is around this question, or I want to hear how you listen, what you think about this, just who you uniquely are when it comes to that particular subject. And so I think that when you fall in love with understanding whomever a person is, not only the parts that your opinion matches with, or only the parts you agree with, I think that's what really makes it kind of interesting. And what do we have here? And fun. What does me time look like since you work and live together? I know most partners use the car drive to decompress. And I would agree. I've used car drives before, definitely, like car time. So what does me time look like? One thing I'll tell you guys, a little bit of sneak peek behind the scenes. One thing that we do sometimes is we have several places that we can work in. So we're not, though we work and live together, we're not necessarily always working side by side.
We've learned that we don't have to.
We've learned that we don't have to. And that's not a negative thing, or that's not a, or anything like that. It just works for us. Sometimes we'll work side by side. That's an energy too. But one thing that we find, I move around the house. So I work in, I have this is like our meditation zone, guys. This is the same room that you're normally in. It's just kind of a different background portion of it. This is the part where I do my meditation and stuff in. But I work in here. We have another office room that Robert will work in sometimes. We have a joint office downstairs. Every so often I work in my room, which I wouldn't suggest to anybody. But that's one of the things, is we move around, and even though we are together, we're not necessarily in the same room. We've actually found working separately while in quarantine, working, living together, and then coming together after work kind of feels like we've been apart.
I'm the grocery shopper of the two of us, so that's some of my me time, I guess.
Yeah, I hate the grocery store.
I used to, play a lot of sports, and I've kind of fallen out of it. I was a soccer coach for a while, and little things like that, just for me to get out the house, and especially during wintertime, grocery shopping's it for me. So,
and I would say friend time here and there. We'll have that time as well.
Weekend times, usually our Saturdays and Sundays, we just try to decompress. Excuse me. After she's done with her lives on Saturday, we try to just let it go from there. And
it's a built-in me time too for us. I would say sports, because I'll watch sports here and there, but you are more of a sports fanatic. So that's like I love it, because it means that when he's having his sports time, I'm normally kind of in the room having my me time, either doing something family related or, watching some chick flick or something like that. So that's kind of our built-in separate time for him to enjoy that time. And then the same thing for friends. We have our time where we're just,
it's definitely been an adjustment, for both of us to, come together the way we did and be around each other 24/7 the way we are, and a lot of couples probably wouldn't make it, and probably haven't made it, and it takes patience. Like I said, it goes back to patience and perseverance, and
Absolutely. And the acceptance of an authentic individual in their own authentic ways, like not being a part of something to change somebody or to get somebody to fit into your box, but being a part of something to Jada Pinkett and Will Smith say it best, which is they're walking their journey, they're choosing to walk their journey together. Not I want you to walk my journey and I want you to and you want me to walk your journey. And that's what I find is the big different silver lining in our relationship versus a lot of other relationships that I've been in. Most people, if something doesn't look like what they're used to, what they grew up with, what their religion looks like, what their idea of family or raising children looks like, then yours is automatically wrong. And I think that coming into something of we're going to have different opinions and how can we blend those together? How can I listen first to, and understand where their opinion comes from and then vice versa, get that same thing back. I think that's a huge piece. Mm-hmm, absolutely. Another little built-in me time, guys, is we're on different sleep routines. I'm a super early morning person, and Robert kind of can sometimes get into late night here and there. That's been a transition
for me too. Just one thing to bump back on is, I've been on the second shift, third shift, routine for the longest. So that's been an adjustment just for me personally to, be more of a daytime person. And so I'm more of a nighttime person. She goes to bed about an hour or two before I do sometimes. Depending on if we're tired.
Can you text me?
Yep.
Absolutely, yep. And then I'll wake up early. And I even found one time we went through this period where he was trying to wake up like at the same time as me. And that we were like, I was like, what are you doing down here? It was just really odd because I realized that I slowly wake up and I have my little coffee and meditation time and prayer time. We do meet together.
An attitude.
I was just odd. I didn't know what was going on. Because what he was doing, he was waking up and he was starting to work. So that's what was waking up for him. That was what his morning routine was. I'm gonna wake up and I'm gonna start working. Well, when he starts working, he automatically starts. I pull into the work too, asking a question or what's going on with this client. But I see my morning time more of a meditative self-care time. So I think that's where it was. So yeah, so we said if he was going to wake up, he was going to go in a kind of another area. We was going to have that. So that's natural built in. And then the same thing for late night. He'll stay up, talk to his friends or play some games or watch some sports or something like that. And that's kind of his me time normally on the weekends as well. And then I'll wake up early.
My me time is also like my horror movie time because she don't like horror movies. Yeah. My first 48, all the things that she don't like, that's my me time, I guess.
That's another, oh my goodness, first 48. You are obsessed with that show. I don't get it. I mean, like, I would be so nervous. Like, I just been found when I used to watch that kind of stuff, I would just get real nervous and suspicious. Like, who is that? What they doing out there? It affects me greatly. I'm an empath. So I pick up whether it's something that's, we were actually just talking about this yesterday in one of our meditation sessions, that your mind doesn't know whether it's real or it's fake. And I relate heavily. I'm crying, I'm upset, and it'll be about a movie. But that's the normal built-in me time.
One last thing to add on to that, my me time, I wanted to, I'm trying to get more productive with it as well. So I am trying to start a podcast here soon. So be on the lookout for that. All things music. So
all things music, absolutely. We both really connect on music. That was a common thing. Oh my goodness, we listen to music probably like 70% of the day anyway. It's such a huge, I feel like, energy booster, energy elevator, and everything. So it's going to be discussions around music. And I'm so excited about that. Just a way to create. It's so important in your me time, talking about self-care and Valentine's Day. It's so important to create. Your create time may be something that you're gifted and that's of high value and something business related. It may be making candles. It may be doing a podcast. It may be doing a YouTube channel. It may be making shirts. Shout out to Marika, who actually just one of her daughter just created a shirt line. She's only 9 years old. I hope that I don't say her age wrong, Marika. Catch me if I don't. But she just created her own shirt line. I think also seeing her mom be such a hustler, because Marika is a true hustler, I think that motivated her to want to start her own thing. That's why it's so important when it comes to bringing family into. And God, honestly, guys, this is something that minorities are late to the table on. Because non-minorities and other races and things like that, they have been doing this for a very long time. And then they have an opportunity to actually leave inheritance, not just a monetary inheritance, but leave work ethic, leave going after your passions and dreams, leave believing in yourself, leave all of those things to their children. So yeah, definitely one thing we do is we value me time. I think that's important if you're living and working together. We are okay with, even before COVID-19 and when people were going to the movies and stuff, we would go to sometimes we would go to movies. He might want to see a horror movie. I might see something else. We see it at the same time, come together afterwards. And that was a date to us sometimes. Of course, we would see movies together too, but we don't force each other. I think sometimes as couples, you force each other into the things that you're used to. And I think we went through that period where it was like, oh, I really want you to like this too. But that's built-in me time for you. If you have some little hobbies that one person enjoys, the other person don't enjoy that much, why not do those things at the same time separately? So we really value and understand. I think that's huge when it comes to living and working together, being okay with each other having their me time. So absolutely. Let's see. And we're going to wrap up, guys, here soon. Just so you know, y'all, I get treated like an employee. No special perks. What? First of all, Nana, happy birthday to you.
It's her birthday weekend.
It's coming up. It's her birthday weekend, guys. It's this Monday. So that is totally well, yeah, for both. We would want to definitely celebrate that. So I think she definitely gets some perks too. I think all of our employees, contractors, and all of those things get those special perks as well. We try to treat them like family. It helps that they are family. Absolutely. But we have some people who are not family on our staff as well, and they get to come into that whole family vibe. That's definitely our goal. She said it's called growing up. Lucky to have each other. Yeah, it's called growing up. You're absolutely right. Growing old. Oh, I like growing up, I think. Okay. We are growing old, though. Absolutely. It scares me too, Tracy. I can't watch, that horror. I mean, and then I had to be okay. And this was, like you said, called growing up, called learning. I had to be okay with, it's okay if you don't understand why somebody likes something. That's fine. If it doesn't affect them the same way, you have to realize that as well. You don't wake up with no scary dreams or nothing like that very often. I am the type of person that dreams often. Everybody is different, and that's okay. So that's huge. There are going to be things in relationship with business, with employees, with staff, with the person that you're with. There's going to be things you don't understand about each other, or things that one person likes or one person thinks of differently than each other. And I think that understanding that and accepting that, the quicker you do that, the better things will be. Absolutely. Hey, Kyle, how you doing? Hey, cuz. Absolutely. That's some family right there. No problems at all. Oh, about the movies. That's her fault. Yes, I know. I know. Absolutely no problem. All right, guys, we will wrap up. It's been about an hour here. Anything that we didn't share that we wanted to share? I think that we got it all out there.
Just learn. It's a learning process. It's a learning process. Working with your spouse as an entrepreneur, it's going to be ups and downs. You'll get to the ups, soon, but you got to go through them downs, and you'll make it through.
Absolutely.
And your family.
Yeah, and having some coaching, having some people around you, whether that be with our services or whether that be with a family or friend, coaching is huge, guys. Actually, I'm not going to say the name of it yet, but we're coming out with a group here before the end of this month, specifically for coaches and for mentors. So nonprofits with coaching and mentorship. If your nonprofit has a coaching, mentorship, educational component, tag yourself or say that's me in this comment section here, because we'll make sure we add you to that group. Mentorship is one of the top words and the top key areas that we're going to be working on as a nonprofit this year in 2021. And so we just want to create more services to make your programs more impactful and more dynamic. So link with some coaches, link with some other people who have a loving relationship. Don't find people who have a negative relationship and have really close ties with them, because that's going to bleed over into your relationship as well. If that's not a physical relationship for you, or if it's not a physical person a couple who's already built a business, for you, then it may be just somebody that you can find on YouTube that you're following or whatnot, where you can get tips and things like that from. You don't have to reinvent the wheel, guys. So be okay with getting coaching if that's building a business with your partner, or if that looks like some marital counseling or something like that. And that looks like really getting some deep help. If it looks like this, actually Reggie does do couples as well when it comes to how you both operate so that you can easily work together. So that might be an option for you all as well. Don't be afraid to have that coaching, and don't be afraid to not reinvent the wheel, but to have some type of guide. I would say that would be the last biggest tip. All right. Mm-hmm. Thank you guys. Thank you. Thank you. It was so wonderful sitting with you all. We will be back next week, guys. We put out a calendar just as a quick announcement. We put out a February calendar in our nonprofit group. If you're not a part of it, it's Nonprofit Development and Funding. It's also on our page, clarkandclark.org, where you can download a nonprofit checklist as well and get any other information about our services, guys. So we will see you all next week. Inside of that group, we're actually going to be doing a nonprofit spotlight. A new nonprofit has just joined the table, and we're going to be talking about their services and their process and everything like that this coming Wednesday at 1 p.m. EST. And then next week, guys, my sister's coming back. More family, guys. She's also our payroll consultant. She has a payroll business as well. She's coming back next week, and we're going to be talking a little bit more about relationship in this month of love, and also this wonderful month, Black History Month as well. So this month of Power to the People also. We might go see that movie. I don't know. That might be a little too heavy for me. Let me know what you guys thought about that. If any of you have saw, yeah, let me know. Let me know. I'm interested, but I'm like, I don't know. It might be too heavy. So I will see you guys next week, Wednesday, like I said, and next Saturday at 11 a.m. EST as well. I hope you guys do something self-care. If you can, if you're single, take a nice bath with some bath bombs and candles. Again, this time is about love and self-love, whether it's with someone or whether it's by yourself, because that's what's going to reflect the relationships all around you as well anyway. All right. So I will see you in the next live, guys. Have a good one. Thanks for joining, honey. Appreciate you.
Have a good one, y'all.